Thanks, Goose. When it comes to space exploration, trading, and combat games, 1984's Elite is the granddaddy of them all. What a game. It was one of the first games to ever have 3D graphics, or an open world, or procedural generation, earning it an easy spot as one of the most influential games ever.
We've been checking out the premium beta of the latest in the series, Elite Dangerous. Now, full disclosure, I've never actually played an Elite game, but in my defense, the last one came out in 1995, and I'm pretty sure my PC at that time could only run text games.
Yes, it has been a while. Apparently publishers just weren't that interested in funding space games. So instead the developers got money for games like Connectimals, and Connectimals now with bears.
But thanks to the explosion of crowdfunding, the series is making a grand comeback. And even though this beta is just a small slice of what the final game will offer, I was immediately taken aback by the sheer size and scope of it all.
Yeah, you can just keep on scrolling out, can't you? Space has a habit of making you feel very small.
It really does. There are only a handful of systems available to check out in the beta, but it's still enough to give you a pretty good sense of how flying around and exploring is going to feel.
And it all feels pretty good. I never got tired of locking in a star system, charging up my hyperdrive, and launching off.
Ready to engage.
And how cool is it when you drop out heading straight into the sun?
Warning, temperature critical.
So cool. Even just zipping around the solar system at a few times the speed of light is awesome.
There aren't any proper missions or contracts available yet. All you can really do is go around exploring, trading, and fighting with AI or other players.
But the fact that there are other players is a first for the series. It's essentially an MMO now. The universe is filled with everyone all going about their business, affecting the in-game economy, and either helping you out or causing you grief.
One thing I'm not so sold on yet is the combat. Things just felt a little slow and sluggish. Everyone just drifts around lazily firing. And ships take a lot of hits, so it just doesn't feel very punchy.
Yeah, admittedly, our ship was a pretty basic one with just one puny laser. There are some single-player scenarios which give access to some better weapons and rocket launchers, and the combat there was definitely a lot more satisfying.
Yeah, that did feel better, but it's still just a bit slow and not quite as intense as I'd like it at the moment.
Speaking of slow, it takes ages to earn enough credits to upgrade anything.
Yeah, it's certainly a commitment.
Yeah.
After about an hour or so of trading, I managed to make about 500 credits, I think. And with most upgrades costing tens of thousands of credits, I was just not ready for that grind.
Yeah, you can earn credits a bit faster through combat and collecting bounties, but that's still such a slow process, especially with a weak ship. Also, being a beta, progress wipes are expected, so I wasn't really willing to spend heaps of time upgrading things when it's just going to get wiped anyway.
Yeah, having said all that though, I can totally see myself losing days to this just exploring the galaxy, working my way towards that next upgrade or amazing ship in the final version.
Warning, temperature critical.
And it's borderline crazy what they've got planned for the final game, isn't it?
Yeah, the final game, they want to offer up the Milky Way galaxy at a 1-to-1 scale. That's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, and when you look at the galactic map, it's daunting to think about how many star systems are in just one slice of the galaxy.
And apparently they're basing as much of the galaxy as possible on actual scientific data. So the 150,000 or so star systems we know about in any detail are replicated in the game to the best of their ability. But the other 400 or so billion star systems will be procedurally generated using the best models we have for how these systems form.
400 billion is a number I just can't even comprehend.
Yeah, I know. I think the biggest challenge for them is going to make it feel worthwhile to actually go and explore all of these star systems. It's all well and good to build a galaxy, but it'll get pretty dull if there's nothing to do in it.
Well, apparently there's going to be planets, space stations, and ships that you can walk around and explore. And no doubt all sorts of other awesome sounding stuff in the final version.
They've certainly got their work cut out for them, but from what I've seen so far, I have a good feeling about this game, Hex. I think they can pull it off. We also had a quick look at it with the Oculus Rift.
It's pretty cool being able to look around your ship. And that extra freedom to just track a target with your head can really help out in a fight.
Shields.
One thing I loved is how the menus in your ship are activated just by looking at them.
Yeah, I mean, they almost felt like they were designed to be used with the Rift. Unfortunately, the low-resolution screens of our development kit made it almost impossible to read those menus, didn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty unplayable, but at least we got a sense of the immersion, and I think VR could add a lot to this game.
But we can't talk about Elite without also mentioning Star Citizen, which we've been playing a little bit of as well. And for anyone who hasn't heard about it, Star Citizen is the other massively ambitious crowd-funded space game on the horizon. And it's coming to us from the creator of Wing Commander, Chris Roberts.
It really does feel like Battle of the Space Game Titans at the moment. Now we just need an X-Wing versus TIE Fighter to throw its hat in the ring.
Well, hopefully Battlefront 3 can scratch that itch, but back on topic. One thing Star Citizen has over Elite is cold hard cash.
Yes, where Elite made $3 million in a crowdfunding effort, Star Citizen appears to be raising all the money ever.
To be more accurate, it's raised just shy of $50 million at the moment. They seem to raise an extra $1 million every few weeks, don't they?
Indeed they do. I think it's worth noting that both of these games are in early betas right now, so there's actually some pretty unique payment wars to get through if you actually want to play them. Elite's is fairly straightforward but steep, asking you to lay down £100 or about 180 Australian dollars for access, which is much more than the final game will actually cost.
While Star Citizen is slightly more complicated. First, you have to buy a Starship package, which ranges in price anywhere from about $40 all the way up to $10,000, depending on how much you don't want your money. Then you also need to buy a $5 pass to get the dogfighting module.
It's interesting that both of these games are actually charging a premium to play an unfinished game. Normally with crowd-funded projects, you get a discount if you jump in early because you're helping out with development, you're backing the game, but not with these ones. If you want to play, you gotta pay.
Yeah, I guess there's just such pent-up demand out there for these games that people are willing to pay a premium to get in early and, I guess, help fund development.
I understand the demand. In case it's not obvious, I am frothing at the mouth to play both of these games. Scrooge McDuck piles of money aside, what we have access to of Star Citizen so far is just a hangar bay and a small combat arena, without any of the grand exploring and trading we got a taste of with Elite. But all of that stuff and more is coming down the line.
This is the kind of combat I like, Bajo. It just hits that Battlestar Galactica style dogfighting that I really crave.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the enemy fighters look like Cylon ships.
But it's also just the way the weapons work, and especially because of that little zoom that you can do. It's so satisfying locking on a missile, launching it, and zooming in as it bursts the enemy ship into 1,000 tiny fracking pieces. It's so cool!
I love how all the guns have that little bit of tracking too. You just need to have them in your sights, and your turrets do the tricky work of leading that right amount.
It just feels a lot punchier and more detailed as well. Ships get locational damage, so you can lose specific weapons or thrusters can be taken out. In one case, I managed to lose everything but my canopy and was just left spinning around.
Well, both games are certainly looking promising, and it's just so exciting to see a bit of a resurgence with space games. And don't even get me started on No Man's Sky.
Oh, I can't wait to get my Starbuck on. Nothing but the rain.
So say we all.
4, 3, 2,